Seattle's contribution to popular music is undisputed. You know the names, from Hendrix to Hart, Pearl Jam, Macklemore, and many, many more in between. In this series, we're going to examine Seattle's music community, in depth with unique performances, with interviews, and much, much more. We're also going to find out what makes Seattle, Seattle, and what makes this city on the shores of the Puget Sound one of the best places on the planet for music. Welcome to Sounds by the Sound.
Let's rock and roll.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Sounds by the Sound. My name is Andy Harms. We're in the offices of Hardly Art Records, which is an offshoot of Seattle Sub Pop Records, one of the best-known independent record labels in the world that, again, just happens to be from Seattle. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a band called Ebu, which essentially is the project of a guy named Peter Michel, who has grown up in the Pacific Northwest, made music here his entire life, but really just started this project within the last year and a half, 2 years. We'll talk about his album that came out last year and see a great performance at a place called the Westland Distillery. And it wouldn't make sense for us to be at Hardly Art Records without talking to a band on Hardly Art. And Tacocat, I mean, there's so many different adjectives I could use to describe Tacocat. I'm just gonna say they're awesome because they are absolutely awesome. They're awesome people, they're awesome musicians. Let's see a performance from Tacocat at the Seattle Aquarium right now. You're watching Sounds by the Sound.
Together alone, stay true to your phone. Together alone, stay true to your phone. But I wanna talk until the neighbors are not. And I wanna move the furniture around the living room. 'Cause I wanna dance, unwind the universe. 'Cause I wanna talk until my throat hurts. Come and sit next to me, faces lit by a screen. And what does it mean? Inside, outside reality. I want it in real life. Turn on the Christmas lights. Put on a song, one that's kind of fast and kind of long. 'Cause I want to dance, unwind the loving. 'Cause I want to talk until my throat hurts. Together alone, stay true to your phone. Together alone, stay true to your phone. But I wanna talk until the neighbors are not. 'Cause I wanna move the furniture around the living room. 'Cause I wanna dance, unwind the universe. 'Cause I wanna talk until my throat hurts. 'Cause I wanna dance, unwind the universe. 'Cause I wanna talk until my throat hurts.
We just saw them perform live here at the Seattle Aquarium. Now we're going to talk to them about their new music, living in Seattle, everything. It is Tacocat, and maybe a new member of Tacocat right there.
Here he is.
thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so for people who don't know the band, can you give us just kind of a quick background? You're all from Washington, but not specifically Seattle, correct?
These two
these
are
two
from
are-
Washington.
Okay.
We moved here like 10 years ago.
Yeah, Bree's from California, I'm from Montana.
Why did you guys move to Seattle? What prompted the move here?
Grunge.
Grunge. That's what I was hoping for.
Definitely grunge.
Yeah.
And it's the closest city I could drive to in one day.
The town is freaked around. You need some drier ground. And when you can't go up, you know what your options are.
Can you talk about what it's been like for you these last 7 years? How the band has grown?
We just started to play house parties, and we got signed to a Hardly Art Records.
Yep. Hardly Art is a subsidiary of Sub Pop Records. Why was that the right fit for you? There's a lot of great labels in Seattle. Why did the way that they do things jive with the way that you guys do things?
And I've signed more recently some of our friends' bands, and it's like a nice stable of friendship. They're right here.
There's a lot of other cool lady bands on that label.
I think we like the direction they seem to be going.
Yep.
When we came on board, and it's gone that way. It keeps getting better.
You guys have a very smart sense of humor about things. Is that indicative of the Pacific Northwest in general, kind of that sort of sense of humor, or at least different than other places?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a better way to get a point across, I think, than like yelling at people.
Agreed. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Irony is really powerful.
Yeah. A good example of that sense of humor is if you went online and you watched a video about Tacocat, you may think Eric is a thief. Or you may think that Bree is looking for love. All those videos that we're talking about are kind of leading up to a new record that you guys have coming this year. Congratulations on that. What's your favorite thing about the record today, the new one?
We just like didn't want to make the same album we made last time. Never do. So
How's it changed?
I don't know, a little like moodier sounding, like at times, but still fun. I think there's more of us like really in there. Yeah.
I like the recording of it. Eric Blood really like brought out a lot of different things about us. It's just like a little bit moodier sounds and
Yeah. Awesome. I wasn't used to working with someone who was like, try this thing you've never thought of before, and being like, whoa,
Cool.
I really didn't think of that. So
When the new record is out, I presume you guys will go out on tour. When you are out on the road, what do you miss most about Seattle?
oh, it's so green.
Yep.
It's so beautiful.
Very pretty,
And
yeah.
the air is really nice. And
I end up missing friends from social media, FOMO.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Or just like, just miss my house.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
yeah,
And
thanks for having
I think
us.
it's an extra special treat because we are going to hear some new songs live here at the aquarium. It is Tacocat on Sounds by the Sound. Welcome back to Sounds by the Sound. Right now we're going to head to the Westland Distillery, who, if you like whiskey or scotch and you're ever in Seattle, this is absolutely a place that you must go. It is incredible. To meet up with Ibu. Ibu is the project of a guy named Peter Michel, who is just 22 years old, but has been making music in the Pacific Northwest, great music, for a long, long time already. He's a special dude, a special artist. Here's Ibu.
You're not shy of the kind, walking away with sympathy
You just saw them perform in front of a bunch of barrels of booze at the Westland Distillery. Now we're going to talk about their music and their time in Seattle. And by there, I mean Peter Michelle from EBOO. What's up, man? How are you?
How's it going?
Thanks for being here. EBOO is not your first musical project. Can you give us some of your background musically before this project started?
I played drums in a band called Craft Spells and toured around with them for quite a bit. And before that, I just was in little high school and middle school bands. But this is the first thing that I feel like it's truly mine, so
Sure.
I can kind of, yeah.
How long have you been playing music? When did you get started?
I started classical piano lessons when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
And then just kind of accumulated drum lessons and guitar lessons, and it was kind of the only thing I really cared about.
Sure, yeah. So you've always been a musical guy. Have you always been a Northwest guy? Have you lived in Seattle your whole life?
I've lived in the same house my whole life with my
awesome.
parents, yeah.
That's very cool. How has Seattle or the Pacific Northwest kind of shaped you artistically? Are there any direct influences where you're like, oh my gosh, if I lived somewhere else, my music wouldn't sound like this?
Listening to all these bands that were Northwest bands growing up.
Sure. Any specifics?
I mean, nothing that sounds like me, but I used to listen to like The Fall of Troy all the time.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
I was
Cool.
in love with that band. And like Death Cab, obviously, and yeah, Nirvana, all that good stuff.
How often did you tour when you were playing with Craft Spells? Were you out on the road a lot?
Yeah, I started doing online high schooling so I could go on tour with them.
That's crazy. That's super cool parents. By
I know,
the way.
right? I was super lucky. It took some convincing. But yeah, for the last 2 years, or I guess the year and a half of high school, I was touring.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I would say you learn probably as much on the road touring as you may in a traditional high school experience, a different kind of education.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, is I kind of learned better that way anyways. It kind of, without deadlines and in like a brick and mortar setting, it just felt wrong for my kind of learning style. So in addition to like kind of taking a new approach to learning, I also got to be touring, which is what I always wanted to do. So.
Let's talk about EBOO. When did this get started, and why was this the right direction for you to take as a musician?
So yeah, it just started off with, a few songs and a few friends playing house shows here and there, and eventually it just snowballed into more people collaborating, making it a bigger thing.
You're on Barsook Records, which is certainly in the Pacific Northwest a legendary label, a label that is known for picking out songwriters, like top-notch, top 1% songwriters, and really kind of representing them and doing as much as they can for them. Why was Barsook the right place for you?
I guess when we first met with Barsook Records, it was just kind of like a click. It seemed right away. It was just a gut kind of thing, and it's worked out beautifully. Like, they're the most helpful and supportive label that I could imagine.
You're a Seattle guy, Barsook is a Seattle label. Is that part of the reason it made sense to do a partnership with them?
It definitely helped. We were able to just like meet for breakfast, so I got to see them face to face, and I got Eggs Benedict, which is my favorite.
Excellent.
So,
Great hollandaise sauce.
right?
Absolutely. Very
Yeah.
nice. I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Discovery Park, one of the most beautiful places in Seattle, served as some sort of inspiration for the album. One, is that true? And then two, like how? Is it, did you go and just hang out in Discovery Park a lot and just was inspired? Like how did that work for you?
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I like to spend a lot of time there,
Cool.
especially in the summertime. And yeah, for some reason, that park has like something going on, some kind of
Sure.
magical thing. in
You're
it.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the plans for EBOO in 2016? Are you guys going to be touring a bunch?
There is a tour happening in March with Hey Marseille.
Okay.
And then I think some in the summer that are up in the air right now.
Cool,
Yeah.
Peter. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
Super stoked about the performance as well. It is Peter Michelle from EBOO, and you're watching Sounds by the Sound. Welcome back to Sounds by the Sound. The city of Seattle has absolutely fallen in love with the band Tacocat over the last couple of years for reasons that you are about to see. Here's one more performance from the Seattle Aquarium on Sounds by the Sound.
At the end of every week, they flood into our streets, homogenized and oh so blue. Got a hall pass from your job, just act like a total slob. Save 16 bricks for the facade. I hate the weekend, I hate the weekend, I hate the weekend, I hate the weekend. They were made for the work 2-day fun permit. Let loose like your life depends on it. 'Cause at the end of every week, they run into our street. Work hard, play hard, business and eat. I hate the weekend. I hate the weekend. I hate the weekend. I hate the weekend. Paint the rainbow shades of beige. Take down everything we made. The neighborhood walks home afraid. 'Cause they were made for the work instead. For the 2-day fun permit. Let loose like a life depends on it. I hate the weekend. I hate the weekend. I hate the weekend. I hate the weekend.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of Sounds by the Sound. A special thank you to Tacocat and Harley Art Records for letting us hang out and do our show in their offices. We're going to leave you with one more performance from Ibu at the Westland Distillery. Again, you're watching Sounds by the Sound. Thanks for hanging out.
I want to tell you that you're right and go anywhere, desolate and by your sea. My timing is clouded.